Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Yeah, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we are talking WWE Raw. I had to think about it for half a second. We're talking WWE Raw on the road to Crown Jewel now, Crown Royal.
Crown Royal,
officially,
yeah.
We've got our World Heavyweight Championship match for that show, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. They're setting up a lot of stuff for that show. More specifically, they seem to be setting up, they keep referencing it. They're acting like we're already in like April with this Money in the Bank briefcase. So we're going to talk about the possibilities for Damian Priest and his cash in. It looked like they were on the road to doing it last night after a couple days after Seth Rollins, was really worked over by Shinsuke Nakamura. So we'll talk about that.
Last man standing match. Another thing they're really hyping up is next week Raw is the season premiere. So it's a loaded episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. Next week we've got the tag team championships back on the line against Judgment Day. We've got
Rhea and Shayna.
Yeah, that's going to be
and then Gunther and Bronson Reed for the IC title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We should probably announce this, given that tonight is the huge Tuesday Night War. And we put out there, in order to sort of, you sort of, roll your eyes at that. But Tony Khan was up late last night promoting the hell out of AEW, really mixing it up on the Twitter.
You got that right.
With the friendos.
For every salvo that NXT would send AEW's way, they'd respond with one of their own. We got a half-hour pre-show on Dynamite tonight on their YouTube. That's going to have Eddie Kingston versus Minoru Suzuki. Both have, I think, 10-minute overruns. Both are now commercial-free for the first half hour.
I think this is a lot of fun, man. Like, I've seen people in our comments before and on social media in general saying, this is just feeding into tribalism. I don't buy that, man. I like this stuff. It's fun. It's a one-time deal. I mean, I'm sure it'll happen again at some point down the line. But this week, it's like Oasis and Blur, man. Who's going to come out on top?
Wow, some Britpop references, huh?
That's the only thing I got. Or I guess Barbie and Oppenheimer, if you don't want to reference from 35 years ago.
A more recent and topical reference, perhaps.
Oh man!
Instead of something circa 1992.
Not even in this country that we're broadcasting from. So yeah, a lot of fun. Raw, I thought, was a lot of fun last night.
Yeah, it was a solid show. Well. Hey, let's talk about this. This is what everybody was talking about yesterday. Still a topic of conversation today. Vince, not involved in creative currently. So, of course, we had a news brief about this yesterday. Reports from PW Insider and Fightful Select. That said people within WWE believe that Vince no longer overseeing WWE creative. House of Wrestling reached out to their sources and noted the following, quote, House of Wrestling spoke with WWE source a few weeks ago who outright said Levesque was back in charge and there were many possibilities regarding talent promotional working relationships. Because of it, it was also stressed to me, Nick Houseman, not Larson, that while many fans and industry insiders will be cynical, continue to spin the narrative that Vince is still in control, the reality of the situation will come to fruition soon. Vince won't be involved in creative, was a sentiment expressed to me. Again, that's to Nick Houseman, not Larson. As for why Levesque is back, an increased influence in creative, one possibility that was expressed to me, again, Nick Houseman, not Larson, was the federal investigation McMahon is currently the subject of. In August, McMahon had a search warrant executed on his home and was served with a federal grand jury subpoena. McMahon's creative influence in the investigation may not be linked, but it was something brought up as a possible factor.
So let's pause that right there. We got some more comments from the Wrestling Observer to talk about these, but this was particularly interesting because the phrase, the reality of the situation will come to fruition soon, which indicates to me that there might be some sort of public-facing issue in terms of the investigation, in terms of why Endeavor would seemingly sort of, as it was put yesterday, and when we talked about this night Triple H to be the guy at creative, and even though there are some that are pessimistic or cynical about that this is going to catch up with him. And I really, truly, and you have to ask yourself if Endeavor is fully prepared to distance themselves as much as possible from McMahon. They gave him, here's the thing. And it makes me wonder. And I always go back to what Jimmy Van said on the Fightful podcast back when this was the Endeavor deal happened, is, Endeavor gave Vince basically what he wanted, but they also have the mechanism to remove him. And if they understand that this is going to catch up with him, and even having him in such a position of power might enable them even more to pull the trigger on getting him out of the company. Because it's like, it'd be one thing if he was still like in the shadows with some other title, but they gave him a big position, a very public position, which might then enable them to be like, oh man, yeah, investigation, this powerful guy, we got to get him out of here to make themselves look better. So he can't continue to lurk in the shadows while this is playing out. I don't know if that's true at all, or if that makes any sense at all. But
I mean, you consider as well the news a while ago about his stock situation, that it's not kind of being held in some sort of kind of escrow, essentially, where you can't sell it, for a period of time. Apparently, his allotment of stock was not subject to that. So if he is potentially close to some sort of legal issues, and Endeavor needs to get him out quickly, there's a mechanism for that to happen, rather than him being removed from as the chairman of the board while still holding on to all that stock.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so, I mean, it does seem like the pieces are in place, because they wouldn't have gone through this deal without fully understanding, what baggage he would bring. And there is a good chance that baggage will be significant if there is much large movement on this federal investigation. That's a big deal. It's not.
It is.
And for shareholders, like, I mean, that's you got to please them. And this ain't Vince being able to leave and then come right back and force his way back in. No, he doesn't have the voting power anymore. I mean, he doesn't have the numbers when it comes to the voting power to remain and do whatever he wants to do. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be really interesting, but I kind of feel like until that happens, and as Dave Meltzer sort of talks about as well here, the possibility remains that Vince McMahon could always come back and run creative. He said these transcripts come to you via Wrestle Talk, and this was on the Wrestling Observer radio show. He says, the story going around regarding creative, it's essentially the case. Vince has backed off on creative for now. That's how it was described to me. For now, he's backed off. He still has the power, so if he wants to change something, he will. But right now, he's pretty much backed off on that. So what you're seeing right now is pretty much what I was told, 99% or whatever, 95% Triple H. I mean, Vince is still around, and there's probably going to be input when it comes to main event programs and things like that going forward. But right now, it's mostly the Paul Levesque show now as far as what's going on TV and everything. How many times have we been told this? Probably a dozen times, and it always changes at some point. And I'm presuming this will probably change at some point as well. So, I mean, dude, you can look at the product and see and see Triple H's fingerprints all over it. Not a lot of, Vince McMahon, last minute changes, scripts written, ripped up. Not a lot of that stuff anymore. Again, like Meltzer says, who knows? Like it's wrestling and it's WWE and it's Vince McMahon. So things can change just like that. But for right now, it's interesting to see, okay, we're actually getting, what Triple H wants to do.
Yep. Yeah, we mentioned that yesterday on our news brief about all this. It seems like now, for the first time since maybe that, the 3, 4, 5 month period when Triple H first took over creative. But even then, he was kind of transitioning from what was set up to what he wanted to do. And it seemed like by the time he got around to get the shows where he wanted to be, Vince came right back.
Yeah.
He didn't just abruptly, pull the plug on everything that was going creatively when he took over. He worked with what he had and slowly, bit by bit, started getting the show where he wanted it to be. Now, the show seems like it's mostly where he wants it to be, but now it seems like it's not going to have Vince, for the most part, meddling and getting that red pen of his out and making notes.
I wonder how much of that had to be because, Triple H, he's not a dummy, and I wonder how much, and again, we'll never know, but how much was feeling the need to placate Vince and give him sort of what he wanted while also doing his own thing, understanding that this guy can put his thumb down at any time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It'd be interesting to know what their relationship was. At one point we heard that none of the McMahons were talking, and then you see them at the big TKO, Wall Street thing, and like they're palling around and stuff. And who knows? Maybe that's public facing just for the camera. I have no idea what their actual relationship is like. It would be one of the more interesting things to understand, though.
It would be. I mean, you'd think in terms of placating Vince, that could be a double-edged sword type deal. Because you're like, all right, I'll give him a little bit just to appease him, but then Vince seems like a give an inch, take a mile type guy,
Yeah, it could be, yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, there's got to be a balance there of like, all right, I'll do this to placate him, but I got to be wary because if I give him a little too much, he might see that as an invitation to make wholesale changes. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? We'll find out over time. But yeah, once this federal investigation stuff happens, it'll be really interesting to see, okay, are they going to sever ties with him completely? Is he going to be out? Yeah, man. Hopefully somebody deep on the inside writes a book at some point, because I think there could be really interesting stuff here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. So let's talk about this here. Last night to open the show, Seth Rollins comes out. He wants to party because he just went through hell and back with Shinsuke Nakamura.
He wants a day off, more importantly. He wanted a day off.
He wanted a day off, yeah. Drew McIntyre shows up. And Seth's like, oh, man. He's like, fine. You want to do this? Let's do it now. Come on, let's just do it. And Drew's like, just chill out. Relax. Listen. And I love what Drew McIntyre is right now. Because, like, it's this journey he's on, and I'm kind of curious, like, because clearly it's a journey to go to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
But, like, he can't help himself but to be a good guy. And I wonder what is going to be the breaking point for him. It's probably going to be losing to Seth somehow in Saudi Arabia. Although, God damn it, they could build this up to make me believe Drew's going to be the guy. I mean, could you imagine?
Absolutely.
What if the breaking point was like, I know I have to do something vicious to this guy to win that title, and he does in Saudi Arabia. I would love that, Larson. I would love Drew McIntyre got to hold the title as a bad guy in front of people. That would be amazing.
Absolutely. That'd be outstanding.
So he shows up, and he's like, nah, relax. I'm not going to do it that way. Let's just let's do it in Saudi Arabia. I want you as close to 100% as possible. And Seth's like, whoa, wait a second, bud. Wait. You what now? So the match is, Seth agrees to the match. He's, I'm going to go talk to Pierce about it. Drew leaves. Cue the Judgment Day. Damian Priest attacks him from behind, lays him out, gives him a big choke slam. Dom Mysterio comes running down with a ref and the briefcase. And Drew is up on the ramp, and he's like, this isn't my business, but I'll go this far. I'm going to stop Dom from from giving the briefcase to Priest, and he chucks the briefcase, and that allows Seth.
Do that. I want to see more people chucking the briefcase up the ramp. I
know, isn't that great? They all got great arms there.
It was great when Brock did it from like basically the ring.
I know, it was amazing.
Even though it made Braun Strowman look like an asshole.
Made him look like a complete idiot. And then Priest attacks. I'm sorry, Seth attacks Priest then, because he's like, oh, what the hell? It's my briefcase, my fancy new briefcase. And so he's got the upper hand. So the cash-in has failed. But every premium live event, the only reason he didn't do it this time is because he's not 100%. He had his knee busted by the wayward shot from JD. Yeah. Saudi Arabia's a big deal. Drew McIntyre is a nasty opponent. It feels like they want to do this sooner than later, although one thing we've been preaching is Triple H is a man of patience and wants to see things play out.
Yeah. As close as what we are to Mania season, I know it's still 6 months out, but you got to assume plans are either a brewing for what the World Heavyweight Championship match is going to be at Mania, or it's kind of set, barring obviously injuries or something else popping up. And I don't know how Damian would factor into that.
Yeah.
Do they want Seth walking into Mania with that title still? Do they want Drew? Do they want somebody else? Do they want Priest walking in with that? Maybe have a match against Finn Balor for the title? I don't know. But being kind of this close to Mania, and you got to get the wheels going to whatever that match is going to be. Could it be a situation where, for whatever reason, circumstances dictate Damian can't cash in, doesn't want to cash in, doesn't feel like it's the right time to cash in, and it's down to the wire for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's something they've never done with it, I don't think, is have someone wait basically till the day of Money in the Bank the following year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Pressure's on.
Yeah.
You have no recourse. You have to cash in or you lose it. And that's an interesting story to potentially tell since they haven't done it yet. That and like calling your shot at WrestleMania. I know Mr. Kennedy said he was going to do that, and then he looked like a jerk losing the briefcase to Edge. Mm-hmm. Those are two Money in the Bank stories I don't think they've told yet in full to completion. And it'd be a couple of stories I'd be really interested in seeing how those play out.
I do think that they need to continue, because Priest does a lot of cool. Like yesterday when the camera cut to him backstage and he was doing the Darth Vader to JD up here, that was awesome. I do think that, he's not the most over person in his own faction. That's Rhea Ripley, but she is champion.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, they should find a way for her to finagle that briefcase away from him to cash in on Seth Rollins.
I mean, it seemed like the possibility was there at Fastlane where she's like, give me the briefcase. Have her cash in on Seth.
That'd be pretty nuts.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, it would be. So yeah, dude, I don't know. Like they are teasing it a lot, and it's one of those things where we are entering into a season of a lot of things going on, and Seth's story seems to be, I'll fight anybody at any time, and that's gotta bite him in the ass with Priest. But at the same time, I do think that they're gonna. And there's something to be said for, okay, this guy has gotten to a certain point. Let's see him with the title so he can go further. And I think that that's probably what they're going to end up doing with Priest. Like, it's going to be a little bit of a leap of faith with him. Yeah. You can only have him go so far before you just got to do it. You just got to do the damn thing and put the title on him. But yeah, I mean, looking ahead to Mania, I don't know. I mean, do you think it's a situation where, so Seth's thing right now is, he's there all the time defending the title, and that's a stark contrast to Roman. Would you wait until after WrestleMania? Let's assume that they're like, okay, we're going to take the title off Roman, even though I don't know that there's a business reason to do that right now. But we're going to do the title. We're going to take the title off Roman.
Cody's pretty popular.
He is pretty popular, but again, it's the kind of thing where if business is great with the status quo, meaning Roman's like hardly ever there, but the specter of Roman remains. But then, you have to, you got to think, okay, well, is that going to hurt the pieces we have in place? Do we just need to do this thing and move on from Roman? Mm-hmm. But Cody, if he does beat Roman at WrestleMania, is going to be a present champion. He's going to be a guy who's there all the time. And then maybe you don't need to tell that story of the champion who's there all the time, because the other guy is there all the time. Yeah. So you can experiment maybe with the World Heavyweight Championship, put it on Priest, see if it works. So maybe they would actually just wait until after Mania. But man, he seems anxious to do this.
Oh, yeah.
And from a character standpoint, I don't know how he's going to wait till after Mania to do that, which is still 6 months away.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's the story they haven't told yet, where the clock is ticking down, the pressure is mounting to cash in. You can see Priest get desperate, and that briefcase is already such an albatross when it comes to Judgment Day. As JD says, it's cursed. Mm-hmm. Imagine if Priest is desperate, as we get closer and closer to Money in the Bank next year, and makes some potentially foolish decisions and pisses off the other members of Judgment Day in the process. That could be interesting. There's a lot of interesting story possibilities if you wait. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Let's talk about this real quick before we get to the breakdown of the show.
Ooh, actually, let's pay some bills first, Larson.
Okay, let's do that.
We're about that time to pay a couple bills.
We can do it. This episode of Going Good Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. Steve.
Yes.
Anxiety could be a tricky thing. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a situation where something I should do or need to do, but my brain starts going and my anxiety kicks up, and it makes it pretty darn difficult to get those things done.
Well, I'm guessing you know this now, Larson, but therapy helps you figure out what's holding you back so you can work for yourself instead of against yourself.
Yeah, I've been there, and sure, I was generally kind of anxious all growing up, but my anxiety really got bad in my mid-20s. And I realized it was getting in the way of me living a happy, productive life, and that I needed to go to therapy. And it took me a few tries to find someone I felt comfortable talking to, but once I did, I was able to learn the tools I needed to better cope with my anxiety.
And if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's completely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched up with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
So make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Real quick here, we got a super chat from AJ Otani. Says, does anybody remember any other advertised season premieres in the past? Yeah, they've done it the last couple
they've
years.
done it. They've done it the last few years, I think. Yeah,
they've done it the last few years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. So big MGM says it wasn't the SmackDown where Kofi lost. That was a Fox premiere. That's when it debuted on Fox. But yeah, no. October is usually the season premiere for the last, I want to say, at least 2 years. I think they've done this.
I feel like it. Yeah.
I know they definitely did it last year.
Historically, you got May, which is your sweeps.
Yeah.
Where everybody really puts on huge shows to get more viewers to set the advertising rates for commercials and such. Historically speaking, I don't know if that's even still a thing. But then, October, November is generally kind of season premiere time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But
let's talk about
WWE, I remember one year it just sort of came randomly out. It was I think it was, dude, you know what it was? It was, man, I want to say it was October of 2020 because they were trying to pop ratings any way they could with that miserable Performance Center era. And it was season premiere. What is that? What is that even? Because they hadn't done it in a very long time. So it was just last couple years, I think they've been doing that.
Yeah. Also, hey, we got 559 people watching right now. Of course, we're on the road to 198,891 subscribers.
Oh man,
we like palindrome numbers here at Going and Raw.
Love them.
So we got 559 people watching right now. 560. Everybody who hasn't subs to the channel right now will get that much closer to 198,891. Also, we got 560 people watching right now. If every person watching hits that thumbs up button, that like button,
yeah, man,
we'll get a bunch of likes, and that's good for video.
Yeah, man. You just got to do it. You just got to commit to it. Just look at the thing and just hit the thing.
If you hear, you must like what we do. If you like what we do, hit the like button.
Right, please. Exactly. It's pretty simple. It's like math. 1, 2, 4, 5. Really easy.
Really easy. Exactly. Let's talk about this real fast. Then we'll get to the breakdown of the show.
Yeah.
So the main event, awesome main event for the tag titles. We saw Sammy, Kevin Owens challenge. Main event, Jey Uso. Steve's favorite wrestler in the whole world, Cody Rhodes.
Oh, dude.
For those tag titles.
Maybe favorite person in the whole world, and I'm including my own family in that. Yeah. Lacey shows up. I'm always disappointed. It's not Cody Rhodes coming through that door.
Well, do you have any expectation that Cody will show up through that door?
Every day, buddy. I go to the school to pick up Bama every single day at the same time, except on Thursdays, which is a minimum day, so it's a slightly earlier time. And every time I'm looking at that classroom, all the kids come streaming out. I'm like, it's Alabama, not Cody. Maybe he showed up to hand out a bunch of weight belts. And if I caught wind of that, guess what? I'd go inside that classroom that day.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
I'd sort of get on my. I'd sort of put my arms in my sleeves like this, like a little kid.
You'd stay on your knees, wouldn't you?
And then I'd pull back my face because I'm old and I got wrinkles, and I'd say, "Cody, I'm a child. Give me your weight belt. Touch me."
All right, this is a roundabout way of getting to talking about Kevin Owens. He and Sammy lose their a bid to reclaim the tag titles, and afterwards, Sammy gets in the ring and hugs Cody, hugs Jey. Kevin Owens, he's like, I don't know if I really want to do this, but then he does it.
Yeah, he does it. Yeah. Yeah.
So is this legit? Is Kevin Owens finally accepting new Jey Uso, or is this just something to kind of placate Sammy until another wedge shows up to, create some distance between the two of them?
Oh, man. Probably the wedge, because I could see. Wouldn't that be something if main event night one this year was Usos versus Sammy and Kevin? Next year, 2024, the Uso versus Uso, Sammy versus Sammy. Wouldn't that be
Sammy
something
versus
else?
Sammy? How are they going to pull that off?
Sammy versus KO. Sorry, I was thinking symmetrically. Sammy versus KO. Yes. Well, he got his alternate theme song last night, like two Sami Zayns. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens and Jey versus Jimmy. Do you think there's any possibility they do Sammy versus Kevin Owens?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if they're not going to be tag champs, Kevin Owens has got this rage bubbling within him. He has for a while. We've seen it kind of, show itself at times where he just has these blow-ups, more so when they were dealing with Imperium. But it just seems like he's just waiting for any reason to kind of just let loose.
Yeah.
With all this balled up anger.
This is what I want to see first, because, dude, again, it's a long game, Gabe, that the Triple H is playing right now. War Games, man, I don't know that if it's going to be. Well, what do you think? I mean, clearly, like, this is Team War Games right here.
Oh, yeah, Cody and Jey
and Kevin and Sammy.
KO and Sammy against Judgment Day, probably. Yeah.
Against Judgment Day.
They could do some amalgam of Judgment Day and Bloodline.
Right, I was thinking that too, because they've got this like alliance going on right now. I want to see Kevin fully embrace Jey, and the only way he does that is through a hug. So if you get to that point, and then you find some way to continue this slow burn, because that'll absolutely explode the crowd. Yeah. Like, that moment could be great. But then the idea of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn turning on each other somehow, I don't know how you get from there to there.
Well, what would really be interesting if they have Owens and Jey get closer, and then Sammy's like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
He's the one that gets suspicious.
Yeah.
Of it all.
That could be. I mean, he was very paranoid before he joined the Bloodline. He was the weirdo.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how they're going to get there, but again, I kind of feel like I don't know if they would do that this coming year for Mania, because like we said, things move at a very deliberate pace now, story-wise. What is going on?
What the heck was that?
I don't know. Somebody's in the kitchen. And they're like just throwing things around evidently. I got a cat out there apparently. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think that because I don't know, Judgment Day / Bloodline. I don't know how it's going to play out at War Games. You know how it is. Like, they love the Judgment Day and they love the Bloodline. So I kind of find it hard to believe that they would lose, but I guess it's a possibility.
Well, I mean, if Jimmy's the one leading Team Bloodline,
that's a good point. But you'd think that Roman at some point would have to come back. He's going to be back for the season premiere this Friday, actually.
He is. Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh, he's not going to be happy.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy. Wouldn't it be cool if he came back with like just a mustache? What if he looked like like Tom Selleck?
That'd be pretty neat.
I mean, he's been gone for fucking ever.
He's been gone since SummerSlam, right?
He's been gone. Yeah, I think so. Oh my God, has it really been since SummerSlam?
2 months.
Holy shit.
I think so. I think it's been.
That'd be awesome. Hawaiian shirt, like short hair and a mustache.
Some cargo shorts.
Probably look amazing. Yeah, flip flops.
Yeah, flip flops.
Just chill around with a
khaki cargo shorts.
I wish in 2K you could change the hair on the wrestlers.
I know,
but you can't. I would totally see what that looked like.
Yeah,
do a Tom Selleck Roman Reigns. Probably look amazing, by the way.
Yeah. It probably would. So, anyways, Raw kicked off. Seth Rollins. We got a bunch of recaps, and their promoting was on the show. But Seth Rollins kicks off Raw. Comes to the ring. They're in Omaha, Nebraska. Says, welcome to Monday Night Rollins. I got to tell you, Omaha, I'm feeling some type of way at night. In case you didn't know, adrenaline is a powerful thing. This past Saturday, last man standing, Nakamura took me to my limit. There were times I didn't know if I could get back up, but I did. There were times I didn't know if I could keep Shinsuke down, but I did. I tell you what, when the match was over, the whole arena singing my song, I felt on top of the world. I went to the back, the adrenaline wore off. See, he had adrenaline in his soul only for a little bit.
Right.
And I was quickly reminded that my back is still very broken. I'm going to level with you. Being the world heavyweight champion has been one of the great honors of my career. Until the crowd starts saying, thank you, Rollins. He says, but I want you to know I'm just getting started, baby.
Yeah, he sort of teased, I gotta call it a day.
Yeah. I'm still going to be your fighting champion. I'll take on anyone, anytime, anywhere. Omaha, I was wondering, maybe we could do one Monday night without me fighting for my life. We could still sing a little bit. We could celebrate and dance a little. Crack open some cold ones. Well, then Drew McIntyre's music hits.
Yeah, man. So he comes down and says like, you're not out here to party, are you? You want a World Heavyweight Championship match, don't you? He said, I just wanted one night, but you know what? I don't give a damn. I'm not 100%. I'm a fighting champion. Give me a minute. I'll go back there and get my gear on. And Drew says, Seth, relax. The party's still on. You know as well as I do, someone's going to jump you in the back of the parking lot, so I'm here to tell you I want my title match. I want you 100% though. How about we do Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel?
Yeah.
And then Seth says,
wait, you're not out here to jump me. You want me at 100%? And Drew's like, yeah. And yeah. Seth says, I'm not used to my challengers conducting business way. I'm not sure how to respond. Mind if I get a little help? And Drew says, have at it. And he says, Omaha, I got a question. How does this sound? Crown Jewel, World Heavyweight Championship, Drew versus Seth Rollins. Of course, the crowd erupts. Seth says, well, we got one more reason to party. You got yourself a match. Drew, you don't got to leave yet. The party is just getting started. You used to be in a band. I know you could sing and dance a bit. And Drew says, as much as I'd love to, I have business to take care of in the back. But if anyone sees me out in Omaha tonight, make sure to buy me a pint and shot. And Seth says, suit yourself, Omaha. Let him hear it in the streets. So he starts conducting the crowd to sing a song. Well, then Damian Priest attacks him from behind while Drew looks on from the ramp. South of Heaven chokeslam from Priest. He waits for Dom to come out. Dom's music hits. He starts coming out the briefcase. Drew basically stiff arms him so he can't get past him. Hits him with the headbutt. Takes the briefcase and then chucks it up the ramp towards the entrance. And during that, Seth manages to get back up to his feet, sends Priest out of the ring, and then he starts like laughing at Damian Priest for the lousy cash-in attempt.
Yeah, it's good stuff. After that, Kofi is seen warming up backstage for his Viking Rules match. That was next. Again, these are look, these guys have tremendous chemistry. It's a Viking Rules match, and I like that so far. The Vikings are undefeated in a Viking Rules match.
I mean, it's their match.
It just makes sense. Exactly. It's like how the Hardys are undefeated in the Hardy compound matches.
Well, it's like, isn't Undertaker undefeated in casket matches?
Oh, is that true? That probably
maybe not.
That
maybe
right.
not. No,
Darby is, I think.
Darby is. Shawn Michaels beat Undertaker in a casket match.
Okay.
The match where he hurt his back.
All right.
But Darby is, yeah.
So anyways, we got some interference here from Valhalla. Woods came out, but so it kicked, the finish sort of began with Ivar dragging Kofi up by his hair, goes for a tiger bomb. Ivar can't get it the first time, is able to hit it the second time. Kofi kicks out at 2, runs into another spinning heel kick. Ivar heads to the top rope. Kofi goes back up into the apron. He grabs Ivar's beard and throws him through a table. Valhalla appears out of nowhere and leaps off the announce table to take out Kofi. Woods runs down and faces off with her. This was great. She lunges at him and he ducks and she goes over the barricade and he's like, but he's against the barricade and that's Ivar's favorite spot. So he does the crossbody against the barricade, takes out Woods. Kofi gets a sneak kick in and rolls Ivar back in. He looks for trouble in paradise, but Ivar catches him and he powers him through a table that had been set up in the corner. And then he tosses the broken table off, heads up top, hits a moonsault, and he squashes Kofi with that. Gets the win. So
yeah, fun match.
Again, really fun match with these two.
Yep. Then backstage, Byron is interviewing Nakamura. Asked a couple questions. Shinsuke's like, I'm not answering that. And then off screen you hear, hey, you piece of crap. And it's Ricochet. He runs in and attacks Nakamura. And of course, officials come in and pull him apart.
Yeah.
I really wish Ricochet had called him, said, hey, you turd.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you bum.
Yes.
You're nothing but a bum. So everybody in the chat is reminding us that Yokozuna beat Undertaker in a casket match. Yeah. No, we're not well schooled in our 94, 95 WWE because it was a dog shit period of time.
It was a really bad era of WWE.
Right. So after that, we had this is great. So like Raquel Rodriguez. The thing that I loved about this, so like Raquel Rodriguez comes down, and so she has to. It goes to commercial. So then she has to wait in the ring and watch what we see next play out. And then it's all like, violent and stuff. And then it comes back to Raquel. And I swear to God, they probably still do this. If you're a babyface without a character, you have to just go down there and smile.
Just smile. Yeah.
Like camera comes back and you're just doing this shit. It's like, yeah, we get it. You're a good guy. Anyways, before the match happened, though, we're backstage. And it just cuts to Priest. And he's got JD in a choke against the wall. And Priest's like, JD's like. So Judgment Day are in there. They pull him off. And JD's trying to say something, and Finn's like, shush, enough out of you. Shush. He's enough out of you. You caused enough trouble. And Priest says, where were you two? And Rhea, talking to Rhea and Finn.
Finn, yeah.
Rhea says, we were talking to Priest, and I got you a rematch next
week.
Pierce,
talking to Pierce.
Oh, sorry, Pierce, yeah. And he got you a rematch next week for the tag titles on Raw. And Priest says, that still leaves him and Drew for me to deal with. And Rhea's like, don't worry about Drew. You have nothing to gain from that. You still have the contract. You're going to regain the titles. And then Rhea turns to JD and says, tonight, you prove yourself. You take care of Drew. I'm like.
And JD's like, what?
Like, the fuck? He's like, okay, I'll take care of Drew. So she walks off and Priest says, I want you to handle Drew. Part of me wants to finish you off after Drew breaks you in half. Good luck. Now get out. I'm like, take care of Drew? How?
I know.
And we saw later on what that meant. He just got his ass handed to him.
Yeah, he did.
My
he did.
God.
That was the beginning of that match was funny because Drew kind of knelt down a little bit to be at JD's height.
Yeah.
And then stood up so you could see like the 8-inch height difference between them.
Oh, my God.
It was crazy.
I like
so then we finally got.
Eastside says Priest was choking him like Spreewell. There was never footage of that, was there?
Of Spreewell and PJ?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I'm really curious exactly like what it looked like.
I'm surprised. Well, not really. I guess everything's probably taped now. The Draymond and Jordan Poole fight. Everything's taped.
Everything's taped these days. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm sure they tape practice so they can go to the film, but
that was that was a sucker punch right there, man.
So we finally got to Raquel versus Nia, and we had a DQ finish here. So Nia's looking for the Annihilator, her new finish. Raquel gets up though and grabs Nia off the second rope, hits her with a powerbomb.
Boom. So
then Rhea runs down and throws Raquel out of the ring. So then Raquel wins by DQ. So Rhea just starts going after Nia, hits her with a head kick. Raquel's back in. She hits Rhea with a clothesline. Rhea responds with the headbutt. Shayna Baszler runs down and takes out Nia. So Rhea's like, what are you doing in my ring? I'm handling my business here. So then Rhea kind of pie faces her. And then Shayna hits her with a German suplex and then a running knee that Rhea sold magnificently.
Ooh, yeah, this was rough, yeah.
It was great. So then Shayna stands tall and then Nia's all angry at the ramp. So they're kind of angling 3 potential challengers for Rhea.
Yeah,
I know Rhea's story predominantly has been related to Judgment Day as opposed to necessarily defending her title, which has been great for Rhea, especially of late, because she's basically the leader of Judgment Day now.
She is, yeah.
And you add that to challengers, and especially a good number of them stepping up to Rhea. I feel like the fall is going to be a pretty interesting period for Rhea Ripley coming up here.
I think it will be. But they've also, they need to, she is such on another level right now. Like, it is so not inconceivable for her to be challenging for men's titles next year.
Absolutely.
And like, they really need to, like, nobody really comes off as realistic. Like, and I think they're going to do a good job with Shayna building her up into a legitimate contender. Don't think at all she's going to beat Rhea. Whoever beats Rhea is going to be like special. You know what I mean? It's going to be like somebody who actually means a damn. I have no idea who that is. I really don't. It ain't any of the horsewomen. It's going to be somebody. I don't.
Like
I mean, I don't know. So what's the Bianca has the current record right now for like longest reign.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I could see Rhea possibly, breaking that. I just don't know who it's going to be. I mean,
Could
Jade Cargill's.
They build up Jade,
that's a possibility. If they really want to. But then I don't know. The problem also with that is that Rhea is so popular that, like, I don't know if you want to do that. It might backfire as like, oh, well, she's not, like, we need to see her journey up. And if they're able to legitimately do that, I don't know. They need to be careful with that. But I don't know. I have no idea.
No, I hear you.
No idea.
I hear you. So then we're backstage. Drew is there. Seth walks up to him and goes, "I got great news. Match crown jewel is official. Just one question. What the hell is your problem? You want to come out here? You're the man of integrity. I get jumped from behind. The contract makes its way down. And now you're a hero, a knight in shining armor?" And Drew says, "Everything I said is the truth. I haven't lied. I said if it isn't my business, I don't get involved." Priest with his contract. Judgment Day. Potentially winning that title, that affects not just me, but the whole roster. Look what happened to SmackDown. The Undisputed title has been locked down for, 3 years, and I don't want another sequel on Raw. Seth says, "That makes perfect sense. I appreciate you looking out for all of us, but you don't have to worry about Judgment Day. They couldn't take this title from me, and neither could you."
Boy, I want to see Drew win that thing, dude.
Me too.
I don't think he's going to, though.
I don't think so either.
After that, we see Cody and Jay backstage, and they just seem like the best friends.
I know.
They really are. After that, we have Shayna with Jackie backstage. Shayna says, "Look, I don't care if it's Rhea, Nia, or Raquel. When I stand in the ring, I'm the baddest woman there. No sneak attacks from me in my ring and nobody sneak attacks me in my ring, gets away with it." And then Tozawa appears from the shadows, looks like he wants to talk to Shayna, but decides against it and quickly walks away instead.
Then we got Michael Cole in the ring. He's got an interview with Jey Uso and Cody next. He introduces Jey. He comes to the ring and then introduces Cody. Cody joins Jey in the ring. Cole says, "Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the Undisputed Tag Team Champs. How does it feel to be the champs?" And Jey says, "How does it feel? Turned up right now. Hey, I'm a 2-time Undisputed WWE Tag Team Champion. My partner is Cody Rhodes." Yeet. Yeet. And Cole says, "I had goosebumps calling that match. Cody, you brought Jey back, and now less than 2 months later, you're the tag champs. I want to address something with you. This massive responsibility defending those titles around the world, and what does that do to your original goal when you came back, finishing the story? We've all seen the documentary. We've had personal conversations. Are you content with this? Will this deter you from finishing the story? Maybe you don't want to take another crack at the WWE Championship because you lost the first time, and no fault of your own, but perhaps you're scared of letting some people down." And Cody's like, "Michael?"
No way, man. He's got to do toy commercials and shit, man.
So anyways, Cody continues, "You're right that I brought Jey Uso back. All this talent sat on the shelf, so I brought him back. And just like everyone, I'm excited to be an Undisputed Tag Champ." And Cole goes, "That's great and all, but answer my question. You've had an incredible year. You won the Rumble. You were in the main event of Mania. You came this close to winning the championship, just like your dad." Ooh, that stung to Cody. He says, "So my question, is that going to be your story?" And Cody's upset at this point.
Yeah, I would
barely
be
containing
too.
it.
My goodness. Thought this was going to be a puff piece, a softball interview.
No, man.
Tim Russert
hard-hitting,
man.
Hard-hitting question.
I don't like it.
So he's about to answer, and then Sammy's music hits, almost to the relief of Cody.
Yeah.
But it's his old theme. Someone screwed up. It's not his current theme, which was his old theme. It's the Bloodline, the heel Sammy theme.
Right.
Someone made a mistake. So Owens and Zayn come to the ring. Steve, you could handle the Sammy and Kevin Owens stuff.
All right, sounds good. So Sammy says, he's like, "I haven't heard that song in a minute. That's all right." He was very confused by why that song was playing. He says, "No offense, Cole, but you're so concerned with him finishing the story. I have a story I want to tell you. The story of two guys named Jimmy and Jey Uso, a team who held those belts longer than anyone in history. Then two guys named Kevin and Sammy came around and won those in the main event of WrestleMania, night one." He says, "Look, I have no love lost for Judgment Day. They're one of the hottest things going, and you two beat them for the Undisputed Tag titles, and that's the story we're talking about right now. So I'm not here to take shots, but I came out here to congratulate you, Cody and Jey, man. You and I have been through a lot, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I'm happy you won those titles. But this is where it gets messy. I need to admit there are mixed emotions. While you deserve them, and I think the world of both of you, I can't help but feel it should be us holding those titles. Like I said, mixed emotions. So Owen says, yeah, I don't have mixed emotions. I am not happy at all to see you with those tag titles. I don't care how hard you work for it. I want them back. You know what I love to do, and I'd love to look at you both in the eyes and challenge you for a tag title match right here tonight. Crowd starts chanting yes, and Owen says, I don't know if I do, you won't. He says, I know if I do, you won't accept. Jay can't handle the thought of losing to us twice. So Jay tries to get in Owen's face, and Cody backs him down. Cody says, hold on. We're all friends here. At least I think we are. Kevin, you're wrong. We do accept. And we don't need to wait. We could do it tonight on Monday Night Raw. And then Sammy and Cody shake on it as Cody's music plays. So
whoa.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. And then Gable's backstage now getting chopped by Otis. There's like a warm-up, so Otis will chop him. Gable will be like, again. So he keeps laying into him with chops, and because he's got a number one contender match for the Intercontinental title. So Gable says, I'm going to win the number one contendership, start my climb back to the top. I need my body in tip-top condition, so hit me again. Bronson Reed walks in and says, well, if it isn't Chad Gable getting his hopes up again. You aren't getting anywhere near that Intercontinental title as long as I'm in your way. I beat you and your number one guy. Tonight, I punched my ticket to a match against Gunther. Tell your daughter not to watch because it's going to be another heartbreaking loss. So he walks out, and Gable goes to Otis and goes, again, another chop.
You think Gable learned his lesson bringing his kid to work like that?
I would hope so.
Yeah, I'd hope so. Just keep her at home.
Make sure next time you bring your family to the arena, you're written to win the match.
But in kayfabe, in kayfabe,
No, he hasn't learned because if he does win the Intercontinental title, his family will be there.
Yeah, they will be. Yeah, so he hasn't learned. I do like a lot that they're keeping his character motivated to win that title, and he's training to do it. All the chops and stuff. I think it's great. Mm-hmm. So I think if possibly he could be the guy. This is interesting. No idea if it's true or not, but Misfit Wrestling Podcast here in our YouTube chat says people have been camping out for the show since last night at the PC ahead of NXT. Might get a different crowd than we usually get.
Could be.
So after that bit, Ricochet's music hits, but he's attacked by Shinsuke, who then hits a go to sleep on Ricochet. So we've got a Punk Daily coming up later on because Fightful Select dropped a new bombshell about CM Punk's efforts to get to WWE. So I don't know. There's a lot to unpack unpack with that particular story.
Well, and House of Wrestling has a follow-up on that too. So.
CM Punk's camp has a response to it, I guess. But yeah, to see it go to sleep was pretty interesting. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on our news brief, aka Punk Daily.
Yeah.
So be sure to stay tuned. That's why you should sub to the channel right now and hit that notify bell. And yeah, we'll talk about CM Punk a little bit later. But before all that, triple threat number one contenders, bitch. Chad Gable versus Ricochet versus Bronson Reed. Of course, Ricochet suffering from the effects of a very effective go to sleep. Didn't have much of a chance in this match. So Ricochet, let's see here. In the end, Ricochet heads up top. Gable mates him up there with a German suplex as Ricochet lands on his feet, but blows out his knee in the process. In storyline, not for reals. Gable hits Chaos Theory. Reed comes in and wipes out Gable by picking up and tossing Ricochet, and then hits a tsunami on Ricochet to get the win. So Bronson Reed versus Gunther. Holy crap, that should be a good one.
That's going to be good. That's going to be really good. Looking forward to that one. Mm-hmm. We're backstage. Becky Lynch is being interviewed by Jackie, and she's asking Becky, how you doing physically? So Becky says, the man physically is here in Omaha. I'm not physically 100%. I have 11 stitches in my arm, but I am a fighting champion. If you're doing it right, you're never 100% as a fighting champion. But what is 100% success is the success of my book. And so she plugs her new memoir, her autobiography. Says, Tegan better bring everything she has because I'll show her all I've got. So Xia Li walks in and says, what about me? And Becky's all, what about you? And Xia says, well, Tegan gets her chance. When is it my turn?
Mm-hmm. Yep. After that, we have Drew McIntyre versus JD McDonough. And, yeah, like you said, sort of Drew, illustrates just how towering he is over JD McDonough.
Yeah.
But JD's able to get some shit in. Like, he's able to evade and try to chop away. Yeah, he's working on Drew's knee because you got to take away what, Larson?
Vertical base.
They're vertical base. That's correct. So anyways, he's trying to kick away at him. Drops a knee on Drew's leg. Drew kicks out at one. Drew pushes Dom off with a boot, and JD runs into a future shock because Dom was down there with JD. Drew hobbles to the corner, signals for a Claymore, hits it. Great sell job from JD McDonough.
Yeah.
And then he covers and gets the win. So pretty easy win from Drew McIntyre, but, JD put up a fight.
Indeed. So backstage, we see Rhea and Priest watching. And, of course, Priest is disgusted with JD.
Yeah.
And then Rhea says to him, whatever you're going to do, hold off. I have an idea. So she walks out of their locker room, but we see her later in the background talking to somebody.
Yeah, man.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we will. So after that, we got some Gunther Ciampa highlights from last week when Gargano returned. And then they get interviewed by Wade Barrett. And they're all just way too giddy about being together. And they really glossed over the fact that they were blood enemies for like a good period of time.
Yeah, I know.
So Ciampa says, this has been 7 years in the making. DIY is bigger than us. The fans made us undeniable. The first team to main event a takeover. Former tag champions. Now we're on Monday Night Raw. And Gargano's like, what if? What if DIY could do this on Raw? That's a question we've always asked ourselves. I've been ready to come back for a while, and I was in San Jose. I saw what happened, and I couldn't let it happen anymore. Everything happens for a reason, and this is finally our moment. And then Wade's like, we're never going to team up together again. And then Imperium comes and just beats the shit out of him.
Oh, I know. Whoop-ha.
Ciampa's just sitting there the whole time like,
Wasn't those kind of weird inserts where Gargano's getting beat down and Ciampa's just selling on the floor like this the whole time?
It was goofy. Yeah, it was goofy.
It was pretty goofy. It was kind of an awkward cut.
And Wade, of course, who's like towers above everybody, he just runs out of there. And they address that a little bit later, which is kind of funny. But yeah, they beat the crap out of them. Tegan Knox has a video package. Jackie backstage asked about her preparation. She says, I've waited to fight the best version of Becky for a long time. I'm going to show her the best version of me. This isn't just a title fight. It's show everyone who Tegan Knox is. Natalya walks up and says, I meant what I said. I'm proud of you. You were born to do this. She gives her a hug. And then before we get that match, backstage, Ricochet is screaming for Shinsuke. Pierce walks up while Drew and Rhea is chatting in the background, like you mentioned earlier. Pierce says, for his and your safety, I had him escorted from the building. He said, but next week on the season premiere of Raw, it'll be Ricochet versus Shinsuke. Falls count anywhere. And Ricochet said, that's all he had to say. And then he walks up.
What were Drew and Rhea talking about? Again, this is crystal clear that Triple H is back in charge of creative because he loves this type of stuff where action's going on in the background.
I know. And sometimes you don't even know what they said.
I know.
Sometimes it doesn't. He just puts things in place.
Yep.
I don't know what they could. I mean, you know what they could offer. Say, hey, if you help Priest, he'll give you the first shot. But he's already got a shot at Crown Royal, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe
he doesn't need that.
Maybe it's, hey, if Seth somehow gets this win, you help Priest after the match, and he'll give you first shot. That's all I can think.
Yeah. I wonder if it could be something related to the tag titles, maybe.
Oh, that could be.
Because Drew has made several references to Cody in promos.
That's true, yeah.
So, I don't know what else.
I don't know. We're going to find out, or we won't. I don't
Maybe
know.
It's literally you help us win tag titles, we'll help you beat Seth, so long as, I don't know. I don't know how that plays into it, but that could be something.
That could be. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe it'll be something where it's going to test whether or not Drew really is, a man of integrity.
Yeah. After that, we had Becky defending the NXT Women's Championship against Tegan Knox. It was great to see.
A ton of time.
What's that? Oh yeah, they did. And it was great to see Tegan get a ton of time on TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because her first call up, she was barely on TV. She came back to the company, has been on sparingly. So it's great to see her get a really long match for a championship. In the end, Becky puts on the disarmor. Tegan has to tap. Becky was working Tegan's arm throughout the bout. And Tegan was doing a good job during the bout, especially the latter half of it, of like really selling her arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
So then Tegan goes backstage afterwards. Candice and Indy are talking to Pierce, asking about DIY, what's going on. Pierce says, not injured, seriously injured. So Rhea walks in and tells Indy and Candice to get out of there because she's got business with Pierce. And then Indy's like, watch yourself. And Rhea just screams at her, get out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pierce is like, all right, go ahead. Let me see what Rhea wants. And so he says, what else can I do for you tonight? And Rhea says, fix my division.
Mm-hmm.
And Pierce says, how? And Rhea says, I want Shane out one-on-one next week. Make it happen.
Yeah. I love that. Fix my division.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if at some point she was so unsatisfied with it? She was like, I don't know, give me Gunther. Right?
I know.
I mean, dude, you always go back. You go back to Triple H's era. China was legitimately the number one contender for the WWF title, and then I think they gave it to Mankind because they had a match or something, but she was an Intercontinental Champion.
Yep.
Rhea just got done, 2 pay-per-views ago, wearing China gear, shouting her out.
Yep.
The fans would absolutely go ballistic. Now,
absolutely.
I'll believe it when I see it, but man, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that'd be outstanding.
I think it'd be outstanding. I really
Have
do.
her beat Seth.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that'd be great. So after that, we see this bit with the women's division there. Tegan is pouting. Natty says, you did amazing. And Tegan's like, but I lost again. She tries to console her, and then Katana and Caden walk in. They're like, hey, you did good. But then Chelsea and Piper walk in, and Green's like, Tegan, what a match. It sucks you lost, though, but what's happening here? Oh, you guys having a pity party? Says Natty, don't ever interfere with me or us again, or else. And Natty's like, or else what? And then Green says, or else. And then she's looking over at Piper like, come on, help me out here. And Piper says, or you're going to have to deal with me. And then Natty says, name a time and place. And then Piper says, next week, season premiere of Raw. So, yeah.
Then we see Jey Uso warming up backstage. Drew walks up to him and says, see right through you. I'll be there to drop your ass. And Jey says, I see through you too. It seems you still feel a certain way. I got 5 minutes. Tell me right now. So they get nose to nose. And Sammy walks up and is like, whoa, hey, are we good here? And then Drew and Jey are both like, yeah, it's fine. So Drew leaves, and Jey says, where'd you come from? Sammy says, I was actually right there, and points behind Jey. Mm-hmm. Jey says, I appreciate you always having my back, but tonight it's go time, Oos.
Go time.
And then Sammy says, you don't have to tell me twice.
I mean, Drew seems to hate Jey, and he seems to have a problem with Cody. You're probably right about the tag title thing.
Could be.
Yeah, and that could be, when Drew finally sells out, and is like, this feels good. I'm going to keep on doing this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we had, so what'd you think about this? We had a Ludwig Kaiser hype video. Is he going to be his own guy now?
My favorite part is when they had obvious AI art in this thing.
Yes, they did. You're right. Yeah. He was like, I'm like the Mona Lisa. And then it shows like a terrible AI art version of him.
I know. It was played for laughs, so I didn't mind it so much,
Yeah. Look, I'm okay with AI art if you show just how bad it can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I thought that was great. Mm-hmm. I thought this was awesome.
Yeah. Because he should legit. He's got everything to elevate past being a henchman for Gunther. Mm-hmm. He's a great henchman, but he really can be so much more. So I was really glad to see them go this route with him.
Me too. And hopefully we get more of these vignettes because this is really well done.
Yeah.
Then we had our main event: Sami and Kevin Owens taking on Cody and Jey Uso. They gave this match almost like 25 minutes.
Yeah,
fantastic stuff. A lot of great near falls. In the end, though, Cody F and Rhodes. Jey Uso get the win, so they got the new name with for their finisher. And Cody just about planted himself on his head.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
hitting the cutter part, the Cody cutter part of the Cody.
So is it like the Cody or the Cody 1D? Because Cole kept on saying it's the Cody 1D, and I'm like, all you need is the Cody part.
I know.
So maybe I didn't know if he was saying it's the Cody, meaning it's the 1D, but with Cody, or if that's the full name of it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, you had Sammy hitting a haluva kick on Cody. Jay breaks up that pin. You have Owens hitting a stunner on Jay. Cody breaks up that pin. So it's like Sammy and Kevin, 2 instances, nearly had this match won.
Yeah.
In the end, though, crossroads on Sammy before he and Jay hit double super kicks on Owens and follows with the Cody 1D to get that win afterwards. Jay and Cody are celebrating. Sammy and Kevin Owens, they're not happy about it, but nonetheless, Sammy gets in the ring, shakes Cody's hand, shakes Jay's hand. Again, Kevin Owens is like, don't really want to do this, but fine. Shakes his hand, holds his hand up, he raises his arm. For Jey Uso is the winner.
Yep. Yeah, man. Oh, I didn't see this. The Beans here says, I loved KO saying, what the hell was that after Marcel's video?
Yeah, he did, yeah. He goes to Sammy, goes, what the hell was that?
That's great. I love Kevin Owens. Nobody ever responds to those videos. Nobody ever responds to what it's like, dude, we all know that they were just sitting there watching the same thing we just saw. I want to see everybody's reaction. Like at some point I want, after Priest almost chokes out JD, I want somebody in the ring being like,
well, Raquel was there. Why didn't
I know.
She respond to it? Like,
I know, like,
wow, that was crazy.
Pretty crazy, right? Whoa. Yeah. Just some shit like that. Some miming. Whoa. Yeah, that'd be cool. And that was Monday Night Raw. I'm seeing if my stream will hold together. It's like it dropped out just for a brief second here. Yours completely dropped out.
Yeah, it's done.
But yeah, we got through the actual review without the stream actually dying. Like
on your end, yeah.
Right, on my end. And it was 2 Tuesdays in a row.
Yeah.
That we had to re-upload.
What is it about Tuesdays? What is it about Tuesdays?
I don't know, man.
I think it's alternated. The first Tuesday it was on my end, it dropped, and then the next one it was your end, and then actually
it was 2 Tuesdays in a row. I had to re-upload the thing.
That's right, it was 2 Tuesdays, so it was your end. The Monday before the first one, it was on my end.
Yeah, man.
You want to answer a couple questions? Yeah.
Yeah, let's answer some questions.
All right, Tyler O here says, "How will each brand retaliate if they lose tonight's ratings war?"
Oh man, if NXT, do you think there's some big stake? do you think Tony Khan's feeling the pressure from WBD to win tonight?
If it was on Wednesday, I'd say yes, because that's his night.
Yeah,
this is a preempted thing. The odds are kind of stacked against him because it's a different night.
The time shift.
Yeah, the time shift, as he put it.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think so. I think he's doing this to kind of save face, seeing that NXT is loading up their show.
Any pressure?
So if he just sits back and takes it, he's going to look like a chump. So he's just loading it up.
Any pressure from NBC Universal? I think that they're doing this as sort of a gag. Like, oh hey.
Well, we're going to talk about this on News Brief too, but House of Wrestling has a thing about why NXT is loading up tonight. So we'll talk. There's a tease for News Brief later.
Real reason NXT is loading up their show tonight. Wow. And a Punk Daily? My good. Why would anybody not hit that subscribe
for it in a couple
button
hours?
And the notify bell.
Wow, indeed.
Let's see here. Oh, man, yeah. Dave Matuchek says, since there are NFL legacy belts available, do you think other sports teams should commission WWE and make official belts to sell in the future? I would hella buy a Sacramento Kings one.
You would? You dropped down, was it 400? 400, 500?
499, 500, yeah. Oh, yeah, do it. NBA, get it done.
All right. Stephen M. Smurf Galway says, hey, friendos, over the weekend, I was unexpectedly awarded my blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Awesome. It was a huge moment for me and really cool as I got to keep a promise to my friend who passed away.
Oh, wow.
What would you say is something in your own lives, be it big or small, that you achieved and that had you really delighted unexpectedly?
Wait, something in my life that I achieved?
Unexpectedly.
unexpectedly when I hit that shot at the very end of the game today.
Oh, don't remind me.
Sorry. I mean, that was just I'm not even
going
to call
in a row you've done that.
Yeah, I know. I don't call it luck. Like, it's just sort of like it's just a weird instinct thing where it's like, oh, I know where the basket is. I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
But it's like you're right there, and I start overthinking, and I'm like, oh man, there's no way this is going to happen again. But then I don't even feel good about it. I don't even feel good about it. I'm like, the game shouldn't have ended like that. What am I going to do? I can't take it back.
Yeah, it happens. You can't take you can't say, oh, that doesn't count.
Yeah, right. I know exactly. That's silly.
I remember when I played baseball a lot growing up, and then I stopped for a spell, and I started playing again as an adult, like rec league baseball. So it's not it's not like stakes or anything involved.
Yeah.
And I remember it took me a while to get comfortable at the plate again, to hitting again. And it was a struggle because I had to worry about where my hands are and all the little intricacies of hitting a baseball. And then one day I broke out of a slump by hitting a home run. And that felt great.
Yeah. That's awesome. No, it must feel very satisfying. To hit
oh, man, that was great. You hit a ball over a fence, it feels outstanding.
Oh, I imagine so. I've never done it before, man. John E.G. with a super chat says, love the streams and your videos. Quick question. Is the NXT title essentially, this is interesting, the Women's Intercontinental Championship for the main roster? At this point, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it kind of does feel that way.
Yeah, and I love Becky's run with it. I mean, it kind of just means, don't they need like a Women's Intercontinental Championship? Because like, it really does work.
Yeah, it does. It does. Broceratops with renewing the membership for 5 months. Also a question here. How do you think they will split up the tag titles? Will they? They don't seem to be in any hurry to do it.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to. I think if they get to a point where like it makes sense, they might. But yeah, seemingly they don't really care about that.
No, it doesn't seem that way. It doesn't seem that way.
We had the same question over here on YouTube as well, so I just want to shout out DJ Mott for that same question. Jonathan Vieira says, will Jay and Cody's tag team eventually lead to a match against each other? No, because they want to keep both guys good guys, and I don't think anytime soon anyways that's going to happen.
Let's see here. Sup John says, with a bunch of AEW contracts seem to be ending soonish, which four do you want to see as this generation's version of the Radicals? Now that's an interesting question.
Okay, so are we talking AEW to WWE?
Yes, so like MJF, his contract's up soon.
So MJF definitely needs to stand alone by himself. So we're looking at like
Ricky Starks.
Yeah, I was thinking like Starks would be like the Guerrero, it's like, oh man, everybody wants to see this guy here.
Yeah.
And then like a really strong worker for like the Benoit role, or the two of them for Benoit and Malenko.
What about Wheeler Yuta? Yuta heads eating good.
Oh, the Yuta heads would be eating good in the Federation.
Oh, Daniel Garcia.
Oh, perfect. That's good. Yeah, Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta. That's good.
And then Ricky.
And then, but then we also need a P.S. Perry Saturn. It's like, really? That guy? Isn't that Pillman? Really? That guy?
Yeah.